heard the rumor about paving in Quartzsite at the LTVA. Well, I've got some insider information here, and I'm going to share it with you right after this. Well, you heard right. There's been rumors for a while about paving out at the LTVA in Quartzsite, and I've got some friends who spent the summer out there and gave me a little inside information about what's been going on. I'm going to share some of those pictures with you right now. So this is from LAPOSA South, and you can see they brought in some big equipment, and what they did is they tore up all the old pavement from the entrance to about a mile back or so where it usually stops. And you can see here by the dump stations, if you look close, there's a compactor over there on the left, and then way back here there's a road grader. So you can see they've got a lot of heavy equipment out there, and they've been getting rid of all that old crappy pavement, and it was pretty bad this year. As a matter of fact, while we were there here in 2023, the spring, I made a little trip down the entrance road, and you can see in this video the pavement was just all cracked up, and there were some pretty bad potholes, especially right here at the entrance. It was pretty common to have some pretty deep potholes right there. You had to slow down to go through them. And then as you get further into the road here, it just had a lot of damage. It was worn away really badly on the sides. It was just in really bad shape. So we were all hoping they were going to do something. Now I have to say that unfortunately it doesn't look like my wife and I are going to make it back this year. We're going to try for the next year after that, but we might still manage to sneak up there somehow, but it's not looking too good due to financial and other reasons. And you can see here as we pass the trash dump and the RV dump, and then the water stations on the right. And I got big news about that, so be sure and look for that thumbnail at the end. There's some big news, but right about this point is where it really was in the worst shape. And shortly after this is basically the end of the road. And honestly, sometimes that part was the worst. But that's all gone now, and I'm going to tell you what's happening next. So what I'm hearing as of right now is they have paved the entrances, at least to LAPOSA South, and I think the other LAPOSA entrances, Tyson Wash and all that. But from what I hear, they've smoothed out the rest of the road, but it's looking like they're probably not going to do anything more with it. But my sources say that the road is in much better shape, so look for that big improvement. Now, like I said, I've got more big news, but I want to say that we did spend about 6 months out there, as you can see our setup here, and really enjoyed it, especially the Quartzsite sunsets. If you haven't been there yet, you're going to love that part. Now, I do have some other videos you might want to watch about the secrets of boondocking at LAPOSA LTVA, and I've got some important information coming up. I'll give you a little hint here in a minute about the dump stations that were closing at LAPOSA South, but there's really good news on that respect. I think so anyway. But hey, I've got another announcement, and that is that I'm working really hard on putting out a first-timer's guide to surviving Quartzsite, Arizona. Now, last year was our first time, and I'm going to tell you it was a learning experience. It was fun, but there was a lot of things I wish we'd known before we got there, and you just kind of end up bouncing all around trying to learn this the whole time you're there. So I'm going to put out this guide. I'm working on it really hard, and be looking for it in our About section on our channel homepage. This guide is going to cover all kinds of things we learned about shopping. There's some crazy shopping stuff there because the majority of it ends up being in tents, flea markets, etc. You even can shop for groceries in a tent. There was a large tent there that had great prices on some groceries, and it was in a tent. We're going to tell you about the dining. We found some terrible places, and one of them was a big fast food place. We'll tell you why We'll tell you our opinion on some others. Of course, everybody's different. And we'll give you some insight on where to get your mail, where to get packages. One of the long-standing places that had been there for a long time that we used closed last year. So I'll tell you some other options. And we'll tell you a little bit about these sites to see around there and the fun stuff to do. Like one of the things you ought to do is go by, look for My Win Stuff. They're there all the time. And stop in and say hi to Kurt and Kendra. We did a little interview with them last year, and they've got a bunch of really cool stuff. So one of the cool, fun things I found to do here in Quartzsite is right here at this My Win Stuff display booth. Like you can see this big flag flyer on up above our RV. That's just one of the things we got there. We got a balloon spinner. We're still flying that today. We love it. They're great guys, so stop by and be sure to tell them I sent you and ask for one of our Route 66 stickers. Also, we're going to tell you about things like there is legal MJ in town. If you use edibles to sleep or whatever, they've got it there. I'll try and give you some information on the Arizona gun laws, and we'll tell you about fun stuff to do outside of the town. There's stuff like rock hunting and wire wrapping classes in town, Jeep tours, and a lot more. Going to tell you some interesting information about medical. Medical is something you really should think about before you go there. Most of us are, getting up there and we got medical issues. You want to know what your options are. Here's a big one. We're going to tell you about the veterinarian situation. They get so overwhelmed there that we lost one of our cats there this year, and it was partly because they couldn't see us for like a month. They're just that swamped. So we're going to give you some advice on that in that guide. There's lots of flea markets to see, an RV show. You've probably heard about that. We did a video about that. We'll give you a lot of information about that as well. Hey, and there's a bunch of cool rock art out there. We'll tell you where to find some of the best. And I'm going to tell you it's on a section of land that is BLM designated as clothing optional called the Magic Circle. We'll tell you all about that in our guide too. We actually did stay there the whole time and loved it, and I'll tell you why. And we'll tell you about all the different camping options, because there's a lot of different ways you can camp there, from boondocking to regular parks with full hookups to temporary where you can be out in certain places for 14 days, etc. Now, if you're into solar and if you go out there and boondock, you probably want to be. We went there without solar and we learned the hard way that we were running out of energy all the time. I ended up installing a full solar system on my RV by the time the summer was done. I still am going to be putting out a video about that, so be watching for that too. We'll tell you about the two most common solar stores in town and what you can expect from that, and a lot more, so be looking for that on our About page. I'll probably put out a video announcing it too. So if you haven't subscribed yet, now would be a good time, because we got a lot more information coming out. We got about 20 videos we never got around to editing. Some of our travels to Grand Canyon, the famous Forrest Gump Road, the Hole in the Rock, a bunch more. So hit that record button and watch this video popping up right here at the end of this, and you'll see all about the new dump stations and the information on that.